Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Automated Webinar School. I'm very glad you're here. You are going to learn a ton here. We're going to teach you how to create a webinar that will generate prospects, generate leads, generate sales. I'm gonna literally hand you everything you need in order to create a successful automated webinar here at Automated Webinar School. Now, some people might use this to do live webinars, and that's fine as well, but the emphasis is on automated webinars. That's what I specialize in. This webinar school is for those individuals that are running a business that want to generate leads. Maybe you want to bring new leads in from Facebook, or maybe you want to bring new leads in from YouTube or from your blog or from your list, or you want to generate sales. That's who this is for. So if that's you, you're in the right spot. My name is Jeff Ronning. I'm the co-founder of a wonderful software. I'm a little biased, but that software is StealthSeminar.com. And the amazing thing is Stealth Seminar has done over $1 billion in sales for our clients. Do you know what you can learn when you're able to analyze the data from over $1 billion in sales? It's phenomenal. And you are going to get the benefit of that. That's what we're going to be teaching you here at the webinar school. We've broken it into 3 simple modules, and I've given you a ton of tools. The first module, this one, is going to be how you structure a successful webinar. I'm literally going to hand you a plug-and-play template. It's just fill in the blanks so you can create a webinar very quickly, very easily, very little effort, and have it be successful. Now, I want you to also understand that coming up in Module 2, I'm going to teach you how to create the webinar slides and how to record your webinar. In fact, I'm actually going to go one step further because I'm going to give you the webinar slides. So again, you can just take that information from your plug-and-play template and insert it into the webinar slides. I'm then going to teach you how to record it, how to get it all ready so that you can be successful. I'm also going to give you the template for the Hollywood character generator. You'll find that extremely valuable. I'm going to give you the objection obliterator. You'll find that also extremely valuable so that you can head off those objections before they even come up. Because obviously, if you eliminate everybody's objections, they'll convert at a much higher level. I'm going to give you that as well as a number of other things in Module 2. And then coming up on Module 3, we're going to teach you how to promote your webinar, how to pack your webinar. Because once you learn how to create the webinar on Module 1, and once you learn and actually record your webinar in Module 2, then the next step is to pack that baby so that you can be as successful as possible. I'm going to give you the webinar cheat sheet. I'm going to give you the lights, camera, action. It's a personal direction tool that you can use. That's what we've got coming up. But let's jump into Module 1. Now you've got this right below me or beside me or wherever it happens to be. You can download it, but it's very important that I go over this so that you fully understand it, okay? So let me just briefly go over this so I can make sure that you don't miss out on any of these finer details, because each of them is extremely important. The first thing is, this is called the St. Thomas Winning Webinar Template. It's called the St. Thomas Webinar Template because, well, I was in St. Thomas when I created it, and it's been used by thousands of people now. So let's jump in. The first thing with your webinar that is very important and will make a huge difference in your conversions is if you start out on the camera. You know, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And I truly believe that. Your conversions will be higher if you start off with your face on the camera of the webinar. Now, don't worry about the technical crap right now. Maybe you don't know how to do that. It doesn't matter, because in Module 2, I'm going to teach you how, and I'm going to teach you how to do it so it's easy and effortless. Secondly, you want to open up with a stat or a contrarian viewpoint. So In case this isn't obvious, which I know it is obvious, I'm going to make these things up off the top of my head because, well, frankly, it's more fun to do that. So let me give you an example of a stat. Let's say you're doing a webinar for skating rinks. We don't have enough skating rinks around anymore. And let's say you're doing a webinar, or it could be any business. If I was going to start off with a stat, what I would do is say, I can see we've got almost 100 people on this webinar. You know, the thing that really bothers me, the thing that's really sad, is that I know statistically 65 of those businesses are going to be out of business within 18 months. I know that within 24 months, 75% of them are going to be out of business. That makes me really sad because you've got a lot of your heart, a lot of your soul, a lot of your hard work in your business. And to think that you might lose that is more than bothersome to me. And that's why I've been motivated to do this webinar. So that's an example of a statistic. What we're doing, and obviously I just made those up off the top of my head, you would not do that. You would use real stats. You would never lie, you'll never do anything like that on a webinar or any of your marketing material. So let me give you an example now of a contrarian viewpoint. A contrarian viewpoint would be to take a viewpoint that is against the majority. So let's say that I am doing a webinar for beauty salons. A contrarian viewpoint might be something like, running a beauty salon is all backwards. It's done all backwards. Most people are focusing on getting clients through the door. What you really want to focus on is making sure that the clients that you have in the door now are coming back as frequently as possible. Okay? So that's just an example off the top of my head. If you open up with a stat or a contrarian viewpoint, you will be grabbing the attention of your webinar attendees. And then what we'll do is we'll go into 3 market challenges. So what are the top 3 market challenges right now for the industry that you work in? Let's go back to the example with beauty salons, which I know nothing about, obviously. You knew that too. Probably the top 3 challenges for beauty salons is very similar to any other business. It's probably they don't have the lead flow coming in. They probably don't have as many customers as returning as they should. And they probably are struggling, if they're a higher end beauty salon, going against price with some of the less expensive places that are so popular now. Whatever it is for your industry, for your niche, I want you to figure out what are the top 3 challenges, what are the top 3 challenges in that industry, and you're going to do a webinar on those. So at this point in time, we've opened up with our face on camera. We've then said either a stat or a contrarian viewpoint, and now we told them what we're going to cover. And we've told them the challenge number 1, challenge number 2, challenge number 3. That's what you're going to learn on this webinar before you get off it. And now what we're going to do is imprison the attendees. We don't want them to leave. If they leave the webinar early, why? They don't get the benefit of your wonderful knowledge. And I know, because you're watching this, you're incredibly intelligent and you have a lot of wonderful knowledge to share. So we want them to stay there, and we imprison them by offering them a fantastic bonus if they stay. Now that bonus could be anything. It could be like a PDF, it could be a template, it could be a video, it could be a cheat sheet, whatever it is, but it's got to be important. It's got to be something they would literally pay money to. So we then tell them at the end of the webinar, we're going to be giving away this bonus XYZ because we know your time is very important. We want to reward you for investing it with us. We're now going to go into who you are and why you're the one to teach it. Now, this should not be a long, drawn-out, 15-minute description of your entire life. This should be brief, no more than 2 or 3 minutes at tops, of who you are and why you're the best one to teach it. Kind of like what I opened with. I'm the co-founder of Stealth Seminar, right? I've seen over $1 billion done with webinars. I mean, that's pretty much all you have to hear. There's no one else in the world that has that sort of experience. Short of maybe Citrix, but they're not offering any sort of tools, any sort of coaching like I am right here. So now you'll roll in to challenge number 1 and you'll present a solution to it. Challenge number 2, you'll present a solution to it. Challenge number 3, you'll present a solution to it. Only 3, never 2, never 1, 3, okay? We want the power of 3. When you present that solution, obviously you're not going to be teaching them everything you know. You're just going to be teaching them what is appropriate on this webinar. And that's probably somewhere between 3 to 6 minutes to jump into the challenge and then give them a solution for it. After you do those 3 challenge solutions, you're going to sum up the value. Hey, at the opening of the webinar, I told you I was going to give you a solution for this, this, and this. Guess what? We just gave you a solution for this, this, and this. That's what you've learned. Okay? Now you're going to transition into a Q&A. Now, you might say, but Jeff, how do you do a Q&A on an automated? I'll teach you that in Module 2, because that's outside of the scope of this. But you'll go into the Q&A. You won't be there. It'll be a faux Q&A. And then you'll transition to your sales presentation. Now, here's my favorite transition for sales. If you are selling an actual product on the webinar, then at the very beginning of the webinar, I like to tell people, and at the end, I'll have a special offer. It may be appropriate for you. It may not be appropriate for you. It's not for everyone. But regardless of whether you take me up on that offer or not, I'm going to give you tremendous value on this webinar. And then what I like to do when I get to the transition to the sales component is I like to say, as I promised, I've got something here to offer you that may be appropriate for you. So now my transition isn't me, trying to jam something down their throat. Now my transition is me fulfilling my obligation. It's me backing up what I promised them. And then what I'll do after that presentation for the sales piece is I will give them the bonus, and I will bring a closure to the event and thank them very much for attending. That is Module 1. I wanted to go over it. You've got this template. You've got it as a download. I want you to take the information right now from your head, and I want you to plug it into that plug-and-play template. Do not delay. Every time you attend a class, the faster you take action, the more likely you are. So don't just put this on the shelf. Don't just hide it on your computer hard drive. I want you to take action, because in Module 2, I'm then going to give you the webinar slides. I'm going to give you all those other pieces that I told you about so that you can create your webinar. And when you create your webinar, what you'll be doing is creating an asset for your business that will allow you to create relationships with people. It'll allow you to help individuals all around the world. It'll allow you to generate those leads and increase your business and make yourself more successful and really provide more satisfaction for you personally. So it's well worth doing. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you on Module 2.